Hi, everyone. I decided to take a moment and read a chapter from my newest book, Where You Are, which is the sequel to As the Winds Change. So here we go. Chapter 8, This I Know. There is a madness in loving you, a lack of reason that makes it feel so flawless. Leo Christopher. Luke is sitting on a circular bench around an artistically inspiring fountain in Music City Walk of Fame Park. White lights wrap around some of the thicker bushes. The sky is completely dark now. Music and chatter can be heard by dozens of people in the distance, but this spot is quiet. I'm thankful for this because I've been needing a moment to be alone with Luke, despite him not knowing that I am here. Johnny was aware without me having to say a thing that I needed some time on earth by myself, especially since I have the desire to stay a little bit longer in heaven to see my grandparents. The reality that's hard to accept, though, is that I can't be here by myself right now. Johnny has to accompany me, but he told me he would go see his mom on Long Island while I visit with Luke, Mom, Kevin, and Allison. He explained to me how, as a spirit, he can fly hundreds of miles in a matter of seconds, and promised me that when we get back to heaven, he would teach me. This is the first moment I feel equally pulled by both worlds. I still don't know which world is going to choose me, despite my every intention to choose Earth, no matter how strong the desire to stay in heaven becomes, as it may increase once I get to see my grandparents again. I'll meet you at midnight by the fountain in Walk of Fame Park, Johnny said as he hugged me on the other side of the tunnel where we came through when we first arrived in heaven. He closed his eyes. Nashville, April, he announces, Long Island, May. 12 o'clock midnight, Nashville meeting. Thank you, Lord. Johnny squeezed my hand. A sharp jolt was sent through me that shot me out where my family was, my feet landing softly and my body feeling light as a feather and as if it was silhouetted in water. I caught just a glimpse of Johnny flying off in the opposite direction. I followed Luke as he waved Kevin, Mom, Allison, and Tammy ahead to meet him back at the hotel. Tammy, the hotel manager, who was so kind to them, mentioned yesterday before closing her shift that she had 4 extra tickets to see Darren Yarvis, an up-and-coming country singer, for the following night. Her friends had bailed, and she wanted to know if my family, who she had just met at work, would like to come with her to a country concert. It was so sweet of her. I know without a single doubt that there are angels on earth. They are the people like Tammy who step outside themselves rather naturally because they feel deep within them a calling to do what they personally can do to help other human beings. I know that why isn't she waking up is a persistent question in all of their minds after spending almost 3 full days now without any change in me. They moved like they were in a coma of their own, walking from the hospital to the hotel on automatic. Come on, it'll lighten things up for one night, Tammy coaxed. We would love to, Mom answered for everyone without a full minute of hesitation. My family is burned out, and from what I've gathered, it has only been a couple of nights. They gave the attending nurse all their cell phone numbers in case of an emergency. The concert was meant to be a reprieve from their constant worry. Darren Yarvis was great. I've always loved country rock. He worked both sides of the stage, and the neon blue, pink, and green lights in the show seemed to emphasize that even in these dark hours on Earth, there is music, beauty, and electrified life. I liked seeing Allison and Mom begin to relax under Tammy's influence. Tammy sat in between them and playfully swayed, taking each of their hands. I sat in the middle aisle on the floor by their row. It was actually a great view of the show. Kevin seemed to relax with the music, but it was obvious in his tightened posture and busy eyes that his thoughts were running at breakneck speed in a million different directions. Luke, well, it was different with Luke. I could tell he was feeling everything as the set played on, every word of every song, and every sharp cry of the electric guitar. The way he felt was so undeniable that a complete stranger would have picked up on it. He squirmed in his seat and would occasionally rub his stomach as if he were going to be sick. I wanted to climb into his lap and put my arms around him, but I knew my presence in the state I'm in would probably make him feel even more emotional, so I kept my distance. He looked like he was trying not to show his unhappiness. He even had my family fooled, but not me. I knew that look. The way he squints his left eye when he's upset, he looked like he wanted to hold me as much as I wanted to hold him. This could have been so romantic to share together. Not that I had any doubts about how he felt about me, but seeing him like that really drove home how connected we are, even more than before. I knew he needed my hand in his, and my side rested against him. That's what I wanted too. I don't want to die. I do see a whole future with him. I see a home, and quite possibly the building of a family, at least having a dog together. I want to have a dog again. I want to take care of him. I want to dance with him and sit beside him into the early morning hours, reading, watching movies, listening to music. I want us to continue to skate together and rely on each other. What if he really thinks I don't want to marry him? That my rejection was something valid rather than ridiculous fear? What if I die? I need this with him. Isn't there a saying that God doesn't put something in your heart if it isn't meant to come true? More than anything else, I can't go without him knowing that I do say yes to him. I say yes to everything with him, to the desire to spend the rest of my life with him, and into that eternal life in heaven. I do know that we may have both come into this world as one full person, but since meeting each other, we have both felt that together we make one whole, and there's a significant empty hole without each other. I remember him telling me on our first anniversary how it wasn't like a lightning bolt when he first met me, but rather more akin to a constant summer sun gracing the back of his neck with just enough warmth and light. He really has a way with the words sometimes. That's one of the dates I play on repeat whenever I'm feeling any kind of confusion. In my short red dress and his dark blue jeans and baby blue shirt, he held me close on the boardwalk as we danced to the music playing from the bandshell on that early summer night. Hmm, I sigh remembering this moment and my heart swells. The music at this concert did make it harder on him, but I could also see that with time he was relaxing into the darkness of the stage-lit room. Unfortunately, by the time the concert ended, the stress came right back to his face. The thought of going back to the hotel room was a stifling thought, and even though my family was feeling worried and upset, something no concert could completely erase, I knew it was worse for Luke. I know it was worse for Luke. He didn't want Kevin, Mom, Allison, or even Tammy seeing the pain he was hiding. This bench with the fountain spraying into the warm summer air couldn't be a more perfect spot. I sit right next to him. It's frustrating to not be able to feel his body. I miss his touch so much. He squirms on the bench as if to move away from me and turns to his side to pull out some hotel paper and a pen from his pocket. I can't see what he's writing, so I curl up on the bench, closing in the gap he created when he moved. I gaze at the fountain, watching the water spray up, beginning to relax just being next to Luke. I don't realize that when I hear church bells ring in the distance, that it's already midnight until Johnny suddenly appears next to me. I'm sorry, April, but we have to get back, Johnny says, out of breath from his own trip. Relax, I stole, placing my hand on his knee. What exactly happens if we don't go back right this minute? Come on, it's such a beautiful night. April, you don't want to know what happens. This isn't the time to be sassy. I only put in for this amount of time, and God is strict about obedience and keeping your word. I don't want to go yet. I don't care right now. You could die, okay? For real this time. My eyes tear up and anger consumes me. I kiss Luke's cheek and step away while he is still putting pen to the page. Johnny folds his hand in mine with deliberateness, and I immediately feel the jolt course through me. I'm back in the tunnel in a matter of seconds. I pull away from Johnny's grasp and leave a large gap between us as we walk back toward Heaven's Gate. We don't talk. Luke doesn't know why, but he feels a sudden emptiness after the church bells ring. He sits hunched by the fountain, scratching his pen across the paper, his eyes squinted in concentration. He has so much emotion that he doesn't know what to do with it. April said she used to journal when she was upset, so he'd grabbed the stack of paper stamped with the hotel's letterhead and stuffed it in his pocket, hoping for a moment alone to catch up with his thoughts. There was so much he wanted to say to her, now that she couldn't hear him. What if she didn't make it? There was so much he needed her to know. Dear April, my love, I can't pin down the exact moment when I fell for you. I fell, though, and in such a way that I knew for sure that there was no going back. Not that I had a desire to, even then. It's a million small moments that had me so in love with you. You are in me and part of my entire being and purpose. I remember the day I met you. It doesn't feel that long ago at all, and yet, a life without you is something I can't and don't want to imagine. You skated that first day with such a respect to the sport itself. I remember thinking that. I could tell in the way you moved. It wasn't like you were running on ego or trying to hit some mark for a competition. I've seen what that looks like with my sisters. But you know, it was something deeper with you. almost like you were determined fully by your sweet heart that I love so much. It was as if you were skating for your entire self to be expressed and to soak up that passion so that you could give that spirit to others. When you fell, I knew me coming up to you was probably a total invasion of what you were trying to do. I couldn't wait though. I didn't know if I would ever get the opportunity to approach you again. I remember feeling a desperate need to be impulsive at that moment. I like to surprise you, but as you know by now, I'm not normally impulsive. I think things through, probably too much sometimes. I know, the jig is up. I totally seized the vulnerable moment, but in my defense, you were so beautiful. I racked my brain trying to think of what I could possibly bring to the table, and then I had it. Ice for your knee. Oh boy, thank you for making me laugh at this memory. See, you're still taking care of me. I wish I knew where your mind was right now. I hate seeing you in that bed and not being able to see your incredibly soulful brown eyes. April, I miss you so much. What has it been, a week since I was with you? I miss teasing you, I miss surprising you. Most of all, I miss holding you in my arms. I remember this moment around a year and a half of dating, and I had just been laid off from the accounting firm I was with when I met you. My first thought, honestly, was, what is this going to do to our relationship? I'm sorry to have thought that way. It definitely wasn't anything to do with you, except that you made me want to be the best possible man for you. I wanted to be strong, always have a backup plan. I know that's not the way life works, but me losing my job definitely threw me. I wanted to be able to take care of you in every way I could. You've told me bits and pieces of the way your father was, and I never wanted you to feel any doubt that I didn't want to step up for you in every way. You didn't have the doubts I did, though, and my fears were proven foolish by you. You came that day to meet me. The most blinding, obnoxious afternoon spring sun was shining that day, and I can hear you laughing at our mutual dislike of the spring. So yeah, the sun's light was so bright on the corporate building that I was just dismissed from, after spending almost 6 years of full dedication. You put your arms around me, and then you kissed me with such intensity that it seriously left me weak in the knees. I love you so much, you had said with such fervor and truth, as if I had accomplished something instead of being rejected. And that was the thing. You made me feel that I was a success in your eyes, just being myself, the ups and downs, nothing changed in the way you looked at me. That's the way I feel about you, too. Your love is a fixed point in my being, and I can tell you that I've never felt that way before. I knew that day that I had nothing to ever worry about with you by my side. It's because of you, I'm positive, that I truly have the courage to start my own business. April, my forever love, I need you to come back to me. I know that it scares you sometimes that I am your first love, but I need to tell you something. You are my first love. It doesn't matter who I dated before. You are completely separate. They all led me to you. They taught me what I needed and what I wanted, and while I have great respect for each of them, they don't come close to you. You are my first and deepest love, and I want you to be my last, my forever. I know you are for me. You don't need to marry me if you don't want to. We can go back. I just need you at my side. Please, April, come back to me. Love, Luke.